What's up, everyone? We've had a hiatus. No, we haven't gone to the beach, but we're back. Your two
We are
favorite
back.
sports analysts. Oh, wait, look, we have our usual names right now. This is a weird thing.
My government name. No, I'm not Face Perkins. No, I'm not. What was my other name before? I forgot.
Your girl
All
got my
those other
rookie
names. Yeah,
card.
your girl got my rookie card. None of that BS. Government names today. We've been going for a minute, so maybe y'all forgot about us. So we had to remind y'all
Yeah.
who we
Come
were.
on, how could you forget about us, huh? And you all never even went in our comments for our draft video. We're hella
Yeah,
disappointed. Come on,
super
people.
disappointed. I wanted somebody
Come
to just,
on.
shit on Alex picks, but nobody did it.
Which I
So
did get all three right, unlike someone else who had this Lithuanian guy going first who went like in the teens, but that's a different
Yo,
conversation for later.
speaking of him, the Knicks lack. They did not draft him, and I was extremely disappointed. But that's something else.
All right.
That's
Well,
something else.
you know
That's
what? I
something
have
else.
faith in Obi. Obi, like, that moved me when he got drafted by his hometown team. He was crying, and I'm like, it's that. This is the kind of heart that the Knicks need. They need a player
Yeah,
who's willing to give up their all on the court, and he's from Brooklyn. Like, he's gonna want to bring this Knicks franchise in. Man, we didn't get Westbrook, but that's a different story. But Obi
yeah.
Toppin's gonna do his best to bring us back up. But I think we're gonna highlight some of the players that we think are the most interesting fits, or that we're the most excited to see on their prospective new team. So please let us know in the comments whether you agree or disagree. And we're gonna go with our top four. And FaZe, I know you're
You know what?
thrilled about.
Wait, but before you go to the next guy, we already started talking about Obi. Just to touch more on that, I honestly don't like the Obi fit for the Knicks. Don't get me wrong. I think that he's a phenomenal player. I think that he's a bucket.
Yeah.
He can space the floor, pick and roll, he can slash. But he just reminds me so much of a lot of the type of players they have on that roster already. Like,
I know
for
Julius
example,
Randle.
Julius Randle. So, I mean, maybe they can use Julius Randle's trade bait. They have Obi, who's cheaper right now, younger.
Yeah, I agree.
But I just feel like that team is the team that really needed a leader, really needed a solid point guard as
They needed
well.
a young athletic prospect to build around. And this feels weird to say because Obi is young. I mean, he's 23, 22, but that's old for NBA terms, right? Because if you think about it, you need maybe, I mean, unless you're a star, you need a year to adjust at the minimum, right? With different speed,
Yeah.
especially coming from that cider is acting real good with you right now.
Everybody, I'm trying out this new pineapple tropical lime cider. It's delicious. So if you hear me hiccup, that's what it is.
It's a good sign. We're trying to get their sponsorship too, so please follow them on Instagram.
Exactly.
But going
Julian.
back to it's Julian. Oh, there you go. But going back to Obi, I am such a stereotypical Knicks fan. I hated that pick. I hated it. I'm like, really? We get him. I want someone like Killian Hayes. I want a Kira Lewis. I want like an exciting, athletic young point guard. And then we get this guy who's arguably a great shooter and who's actually really athletic. I don't know if you've seen his highlights, but it's not that exciting, like 19-year-old De'Aaron Fox like player to build around, right?
Yeah, and
And
like he's athletic. Don't get me wrong, but he's athletic on the offensive end of the court. He lacks that athleticism on the defensive end, and he's just the type of player. He's a little bit weaker, so he can't really bang down low on defense. He's slower, so he can't really guard the perimeter. So it's just like, what do you do with him on defense? And that's a big question mark. And I think to have a player like that on that Knicks roster that has so many other question marks, I think that they should have honestly went with the safer pick, the safer player to build around that can make people around him better, which would have been Denny
yeah, but
or
Obi
Killian
is the
or any of
safest.
those guards.
But if you look at the players, Obi is your safest player because you know that he has the highest floor. He already has the floor of probably being a 12 to 15 point guy who's going to shoot 38% from three, right? That's probably what he's going to be like, right? He's not going to be the number one option, right? So he's safe. But you want someone in top 10 to be that number one guy, right? You want him to be, and maybe we're just short selling him. Maybe he's going to prove us wrong. We finally have a decent coaching staff. Like, we finally have player development
Take
focused
three.
coaches. Exactly. Or take 10. Hey, I started being a Knicks fan under Isaiah Thomas and Starbury. So yeah, I don't know how many takes that is. Eddie Curry. So yeah, talking about takes, that's a whole lifetime of takes. But I have faith we finally have player development coaches, and this is kind of a really 30-second digression, but we're getting Kevin Knox's old college coach, and he's the guy who's responsible for helping him become a great shooter in Kentucky. Payne is his last name. So I'm curious to see what's going to happen with that, because it's crazy. He's younger than Obi by 2 years, and we drafted him 2 years ago. So I think Obi was a very safe pick. I think Rose, as the first draft as GM, he didn't want to go too crazy and get your boy Denny. I think he wanted to have a safe pick to build around and kind of acclimate the fan base. I wasn't thrilled at it, but hey, I would love for the New Yorker to prove me wrong.
No, definitely. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Only time will tell. We'll see. But who were you going to mention before?
I was going to start with someone that you had thought were going to go to the Hornets since day one. LaMelo Ball.
I was right, everybody. Yes, I was.
He was right.
Good old
For
ball
all the 30 people that all the 30 people that interacted with our draft predictions, yes, they all saw that.
Yeah, but I mean, hey, I knew for a fact that he wasn't going number one. I mean, I mean, I had my doubts about Anthony Edwards, but I just knew that LaMelo wasn't going one. I knew that the Warriors would be stupid not to take Wiseman. Be stupid,
yeah, of course.
Especially with AD and other bigs in the West, and all these teams are starting to go back to having actual centers. They kind of need a big body down there. And the Hornets, it's a perfect fit. MJ wants to get a guy who, is going to bring in fans, excite Charlotte, and to be honest, LaMelo actually might not be a perfect fit for that team, but he's exactly what that team needs. Somebody flashy, somebody exciting, somebody to bring some life to that franchise, and somebody that they can build around. He's a guy that could very patient on offense, very good in pick and roll. He's honestly the best passer in that draft. And he's flashy. He can shoot and play make and just do everything. I mean, he has his struggles on defense, but he's a tall guard. That's kind of
expected. He's 6'5", 6'8".
No,
he's
he's
that tall?
6'8". Yeah, he's the tallest of all his brothers. Yeah.
Wow. So. But you know what? Him getting there. You know who's probably the happiest guy in the Hornets to see LaMelo Ball there? Terry Rozier. He's going back to his star spot from Boston, being that first guy off the bench and Sixth Man of the Year candidate, which I think is a perfect role for Terry Rozier. Just come in the second unit. That's how he got his big contract in Boston in the playoffs. He was that main guy off the bench. And I think the Hornets, you get LaMelo Ball at point guard or shooting guard or however you want to match up. Probably defensively, you'll mix and match with Deontay Graham. But it's going to make that team infinitely better because you're going to have Rozier, who's a good point guard, but he's not a good starting point guard on a playoff team, especially with Graham, right? That's a defensive nightmare for the head coach, Yeah. So put Rozier off the bench. I think the Hornets will be much better this year, especially with Hayward being there too.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we're not saying that they're winning some Eastern Conference championship or they're even going to get out the first round. But I think, adding Hayward, adding LaMelo, they also got rid of some of that cap that was holding them down. They got rid of Batum. Gilchrist is gone. So, maybe not this year, but maybe next year, they can also bring in somebody else along with that Hayward contract. And I just feel like this is a team that could, kind of like what Washington showed us last year, kind of scratch their way into that 8th, 7th seed and, show us a little something. Like, it's the first year. We're going to see what's good. But I honestly think that they could snag, especially at the East. The bottom of that East is extremely weak.
I agree.
I think that they could snag that 8th seed if Gordon Hayward shows us that, he doesn't have to ball at an extremely high level. He doesn't have to be all NBA, but I need 20 points at least from him per game.
Right. And this is interesting, just another quick 30-second digression. The bottom East is going to be really interesting. You have the Wizards, you got the Bulls, who they're continuously restocking. You got the Hornets. You got the Knicks may challenge just because they finally have a competent coach. so they may challenge for a playoff spot too. And they have some talent. Like it's not like they don't have anyone.
I'm not gonna hold my breath.
I know, but this is just saying you have a bunch of teams in that 8th seed area that could conceivably. I wouldn't be surprised if the Bulls, the Knicks, Pistons, Hornets, or any of these teams get that 8th seed. I wouldn't be surprised with any of them.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. That's kind of why I like these, because like each of these teams losing record is gonna make it. You know, and I think that's funny. But digressing from the East right now, the West is. I don't know how they continuously get more and more and more loaded. And I think one of my favorite picks of the draft that I kind of wish my Knicks took, Tyrese Halliburton, going to the Kings.
Yeah.
I think that's a perfect blend of guards with De'Aaron Fox. You have De'Aaron Fox, one of the don't worry, I'm not saying one of the fastest and most athletic point guards in the NBA. Right? It's John Wall can rival him with speed, athleticism, right? But I think those two in kind of a tier of their own. Maybe Westbrook too, but it's not many point guards that can play like Fox. And you have Halliburton, who can shoot, he can board, he can assist, he can play D at 6'6" next to Fox. That's your backcourt of the future right there, assuming Halliburton doesn't bust.
No, yeah, definitely. And I think it's a great fit. You know, Fox is a guy who he moves fast. He's a killer in transition, and he year after year he's improved offensively. But I think Halliburton is a good switch up. Not as fast, not as high pace as Fox, but he's a guy who has no errors in his game. Extremely highly talented passer, can shoot, can finish at the rack, can score at all 3 levels, and he's a guy that could really help them out. With a half-court offense, getting everything set, having everything in order. And that 1-2 punch between him and Fox, I feel like could be huge for that team.
I know.
I would like to see how this all mixes. He's not going to be starting. It's definitely going to be Fox and Buddy Hill. And then Halliburton.
Buddy's still on the team. That's right. I forgot about Buddy
Hill's still on the team.
Or would you make the power lineup? Put Halliburton at small forward because he's 6'7". Put Hield as shooting guard.
Halliburton 6'7"?
Point guard. Yeah, boy.
This tall fellow.
I know. Look at all these tall youngins playing guard right now. But like that would be an interesting lineup, right?
It would be.
I think the key is you're no longer going to put De'Aaron Fox and the other team starting point guard all the time, which is going to be less wear and tear on him. And boy just got the mega max contract, the 5-year, $170 million deal. So he's ready to prove himself.
Right. So we'll see. But last but not least, you got your boy who you are also excited about with the Spurs, Devin Vassell.
Yes, I wanted the Knicks to draft him. That's one of the players I wanted the Knicks to draft. Him, Halliburton, or Killian Hayes. That's who I wanted us to draft. But if I'm thinking player development-wise, the Spurs, there's no better spot for him to develop than the Spurs.
Yeah, I mean, he can definitely become a complete player. That Spurs team, I was kind of surprised that they took him, just like you and I were talking earlier, and you were saying it's a team full of combo guards, and they kind of took another guy who's a combo guard and add to that guard stag roster. They still got Jonte Murray, they got Derek White, they got DeMar DeRozan,
Lonnie Walker,
Lonnie Walker,
Keldon Johnson, who was one of the underrated stars of the bubble. He killed it in the bubble. You still got Patty Mills, who sometimes plays shooting guard. Bellinelli's gone. I didn't realize that, but you're right. They can build a whole lineup of combo guards.
Guards, exactly. Honestly, I thought that they would take a guy like Obi, have a guy like Obi, or one of these other bigger bodies, because
that's a good point.
At the big spot, they really just have Aldridge, they have Jacob Poeltl, and then they have one of the Zeller boys, and it's just like they could use another body down low, and they just didn't take it. They took it to the car. It's like, all right, Pop.
The Knicks are so good at messing up plans. We mess up other teams' plans.
Yeah. So
nice.
Hey.
But it's going to be interesting because I think he because Lonnie Walker, like you were talking about earlier, he hasn't put it together. yet, right? And he was
Yeah,
supposed to be this hyper athletic guy. Keldon Johnson, I can't wait to see what he's going to do this year. I think he kind of reintroduced himself to the NBA. I'm not saying reintroduced as a first year player, but he kind of was stuck in the end of the bench, right? And then I think there's a definite spot for Vassell to come in and get playing time.
yeah,
I think
no,
I don't know how
100%.
much Popovich trusts Walker, who's especially injury prone too. So,
Yeah,
and you talk about a 6'9" lanky guy who only played 1 year of college from Florida State, who's really raw but has talent. Like, don't be surprised. I'm gonna throw this out there. Don't be surprised. Kawhi Leonard 2.0.
I don't know. I mean, we'll see. Hey,
We'll see, huh? Wouldn't that be
it'd be great
interesting?
for the Spurs if that was to happen. But
Just think of it.
you know what?
Vassell
Oh,
plays deep.
he does. He does. He does. So I don't know. We'll see.
You
Guys, let
heard
us
it here
know
first.
what you think in the comments. Is Vassell the next Kawhi? Oh, or
Oh,
is he just going to be a guy stuck at the end of the bench? And also, comment down below. Let us know some of these other rookies that you like.
please interact.
Yeah, definitely interact. So as always, it was nice chatting, Alex. Everybody at Hustler. Until next time, see you.
We'll see you soon, but guys, take care.